What happens when a band says goodbye, but still finds a way to pull you back in? Kiss officially ended their makeup era in December 2023, walking off the stage at Madison Square Garden for what was supposed to be their final farewell. But now, less than a year later, they're gearing up for a celebration that has fans buzzing louder than ever. This November, Las Vegas becomes the center of the Kiss universe. Two rare Unmasked shows, Bruce Kulick rejoining the lineup for a special reunion, and a fan event packed with surprises that nobody saw coming. And here's the question every Kiss fan is asking. If this was supposed to be the end, why does it feel like we're just getting started? Kiss's post-makeup era. When Kiss took their final bow at Madison Square Garden in December 2023, it felt like the end of an era carved into stone. The makeup was retired, the end of the road tour was over.
Think small. We're taking over Times Square because Godzilla isn't going to ask anybody.
And Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley stood before the world saying goodbye to a chapter that had defined them for nearly 5 decades. But if there's one thing about Kiss, it's that endings never quite stick. They thrive on reinvention, on rewriting their story just when you think you know how it's going to finish. And that's exactly what makes their next move so surprising. Instead of fading quietly into rock history, Simmons, Stanley, and Tommy Thayer are stepping back onto the stage, this time without the iconic face paint, but with the firepower of the songs that built their empire. Fans aren't just getting nostalgia, they're witnessing a rare glimpse of Kiss in their unmasked form, a side of the band that only appears on special occasions. And as it turns out, this return isn't just about music. It's about loyalty, celebration, and a connection with fans that refuses to die. But where exactly are they bringing this spectacle to life? Kiss Cruise landlocked in Vegas. For more than a decade, the Kiss Cruise has been the ultimate pilgrimage for diehard fans. A floating festival where the band, their alumni, and thousands of loyal followers come together for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But this year, things are changing in a way that nobody expected. Instead of sailing the seas, Kiss is bringing the entire celebration to land. Kiss Cruise Landlocked is taking over Las Vegas from November 14th through the 16th at Virgin Hotels, turning Sin City into the epicenter of Kiss fandom. And this isn't just another concert weekend. It's a double anniversary blowout. 50 years of the Kiss Army, and 30 years since the very first official Kiss convention. That kind of history deserves more than a stage show, and the band knows it. Fans can expect 2 explosive, unmasked performances from Simmons, Stanley, and Thayer, but the real magic lies in everything happening around the music. Exclusive fan activities, rare memorabilia, intimate Q&A sessions with Gene, Paul, Tommy, and longtime manager Doc McGee. It's the kind of access fans could only dream about during the band's heyday. But that's only the beginning, because a familiar face from Kiss history is about to step back into the spotlight. Bruce Kulick's reunion moment. For longtime fans, one name instantly sparks excitement: Bruce Kulick. The guitarist who carried Kiss through the 80s and 90s has confirmed that he'll be stepping back onto the stage in Vegas. And not just for a cameo. He's reuniting with his former bandmates during their electric set on the second night. Kulick admits the set list isn't finalized yet, but that's exactly what makes it so intriguing. With decades of music to pull from, the possibilities are wide open. Fans have seen him jump in on past cruises, sometimes acoustic, sometimes electric, and every time, it's been a highlight of the weekend. What makes his return so special is the era he represents. Kulick was there during a transitional period when Kiss took risks, adapted to new sounds, and proved they were more than just face paint and pyrotechnics. For many, his style of playing brought a sharper edge, a new identity, and a wave of underappreciated albums that deserve a second life. Now, for the first time since the farewell to makeup, Bruce is walking back on stage with Simmons, Stanley, and Thayer, uniting past and present in a way fans never thought they'd see again. And while his reunion is stealing headlines, Kulick's own solo performance may turn out to be just as unforgettable. Kulick's own Vegas performance. When Bruce Kulick takes the stage for his solo set in Vegas, fans know they're not just getting the obvious hits. They're getting a deep dive into an era of Kiss that often gets overlooked. And that's exactly why his shows have become such a highlight at past cruises. Kulick has always made it clear, He doesn't just want to recycle the same handful of songs. Instead, he digs into the catalog, pulling out the tracks that defined his time with the band, the songs he poured his heart into, but that rarely, if ever, made it into the main Kiss set lists. It's part history lesson, part celebration, and part reminder of just how much his era contributed to the band's legacy. This time, he's doing things a little differently. For years, Kulick leaned on medleys to squeeze more songs into his set, giving fans rapid-fire blasts of multiple tracks. But in Vegas, he says he's cutting back on that approach. Instead, he wants the songs to breathe, to be played in full, so that fans can experience them the way they were meant to sound. That doesn't mean there won't be surprises. Kulick admits there will still be one medley in the show, and he promises it makes perfect sense, a way to represent certain songs without stretching the setlist too thin. And knowing how carefully he plans these performances, fans can count on it being a moment to remember. The real beauty of Kulick's solo shows is the passion behind them. He doesn't treat these songs as old throwaways. He treats them like treasures, forgotten gems polished and brought back to life with a band of musicians who know how to honor the material. And for the Kiss Army, that passion means everything. But Kulick isn't the only big name joining the celebration. Vegas is about to bring together some of rock's most iconic voices, turning this event into more than just a Kiss reunion. The star-studded lineup. As if 2 Kiss shows and a Bruce Kulick reunion weren't enough, the Vegas weekend is packing in a lineup that feels like an 80s rock dream come true. Alongside the headliners, fans will get performances from Sebastian Bach of Skid Row fame, Stephen Pearcy from Rat, Warren DeMartini, and the legendary Quiet Riot. It's less of a fan convention and more of a full-blown rock festival squeezed into 3 days. For fans who grew up blasting these bands on cassette tapes, it's like stepping back into the golden era of hard rock and heavy metal. The energy of Vegas only amplifies it. Neon lights, late nights, and a soundtrack that defined a generation. What makes this mix so special is how it reflects the spirit of the Kiss Army itself. It's not just about one band. It's about an entire culture of rock that Kiss helped build and inspire. From anthems that ruled MTV to underground tracks that only the most loyal fans remember, this lineup captures the heart of an era that refuses to die. But no matter how big the names or how loud the guitars, the shadow of Kiss always looms largest. And to understand why, you have to look back at one of the band's greatest legacies, the live albums that turned them from a struggling act into icons. The legacy of Kiss live albums. For Kiss, the stage has always been more than just a platform. It's where their legend was built. And the proof lies in their live albums, a catalog that tells the story of a band constantly reinventing how rock could feel in the moment. It all started in 1975 with Alive, a gamble that saved both the band and their label. The raw power of that record, even with its studio polish, captured the energy that their studio albums never quite managed. Overnight, Kiss went from struggling musicians to superstars, carried by the roar of the crowd and the fire of songs like Deuce and 100,000 Years. Just 2 years later, Alive 2 proved it wasn't a fluke. Faster, heavier, and loaded with fresh tracks, it cemented Kiss as a band whose live shows were bigger than life itself. If the first album was about survival, the second was about domination. But the live story didn't end with the original makeup years. In 1993, Alive 3 finally gave Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer their moment. Capturing a band that was sharper, tighter, and hungry to prove themselves in a new era. And then came Unplugged in 1996, stripping away the fireworks and makeup and delivering something no one expected. An intimate performance that ended with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss stepping back on stage, sparking the reunion that would change everything. Kiss even pushed the boundaries further with Symphony. Alive 4 in 2003, blending guitars with a full orchestra, and more recently with their Off the Soundboard series, Raw. Unedited shows pulled straight from the archives. Each release tells a different chapter, showing that Kiss has never been afraid to take risks with their legacy. And that's what makes this Vegas celebration so significant. It's not just another weekend of concerts. It's the continuation of a tradition, proving that live performance is where KISS truly comes alive. But as powerful as that legacy is, this event isn't only about history. It's also about something deeper, the emotional bond between the band and the fans who've stood by them for half a century. The emotional pull. What keeps fans coming back, year after year, isn't just the music, it's the connection. KISS isn't just a band. It's a community, a family forged in fire and amplified by decades of loyalty. The KISS Army isn't a casual fan club. It's a movement, a lifetime of memories, and a bond that transcends the stage. This Vegas weekend is more than nostalgia. It's proof that the relationship between the band and their fans isn't bound by time or makeup. The End of the Road tour might have seemed like a closing chapter, but for the fans, it was simply another milestone in a story that's still being written. Bruce Kulick's return symbolizes that perfectly. His era of the band is often overlooked, yet his presence reminds fans that every chapter of KISS history matters. From the 70s classics to the 90s reinvention, the music, the energy, and the connection all converge in moments like this. Moments that make fans feel seen, appreciated, and part of something bigger than themselves. And while the music is the heartbeat, it's the surprises, the guest appearances, and the intimate fan interactions that make this event feel alive in a way few concerts ever do. Every handshake, every question answered, every song performed, it all reinforces one undeniable truth. KISS has always been, and will always be, a celebration of the fans who made it all possible. But even with all that emotion on display, one question still lingers in every fan's mind. Could this weekend be the start of something bigger, something no one saw coming? The speculation and what's next. Even before the first note is played in Vegas, fans are already buzzing with speculation. Could this reunion spark more surprise appearances from other KISS alumni, like Ace Frehley or Peter Criss? Rumors suggest it's possible. Whispers online hint at secret rehearsals and mysterious guest lists, but nothing has been confirmed. That's the thing about KISS. They've always thrived on the unexpected. A twist here, a surprise there, a never-before-seen performance. The band knows how to keep fans guessing, and that's part of the thrill. The mystery surrounding what might happen adds a layer of excitement that goes far beyond a standard concert. Some fans wonder if the End of the Road was really an ending at all. Could this Vegas event be a bridge to a new era? Or is it simply a one-time celebration of decades of loyalty and music? Either way, the anticipation is electric, and every fan who attends will feel like they're part of a historic moment that could redefine the narrative of the band. One thing is certain. In the world of KISS, endings are rarely final. Each event, each reunion, each performance adds another chapter to a story that refuses to be boxed in, reminding fans that with KISS, you never know what comes next, and that's exactly how they like it. Vegas this November isn't just another stop on a tour. It's a celebration of legacy, loyalty, and the enduring power of rock and roll. Between the Unmasked KISS shows, Bruce Kulick's highly anticipated return, and a lineup packed with legendary voices from rock history, fans are in for an experience that bridges decades of music and memory. This weekend reminds us why the KISS Army has stood the test of time. It's not just about face paint, pyrotechnics, or hit songs. It's about community, passion, and a band that refuses to let tradition define its boundaries. From the earliest alive recordings to the surprises of today, KISS has shown time and again that endings are rarely final. And as the lights dim and the guitars roar in Vegas, one thought lingers. Maybe the end of the road isn't the end at all. Maybe it's just another chapter, another chance for the band and its fans to make history together. For diehard followers and newcomers alike, this isn't just a concert. It's proof that with KISS, the story is always evolving, and the next unforgettable moment is just around the corner.